Hi there friends, it's Chris, and on this video it's gonna be a quick story time. Basically just telling about my relationship with art and how it helped me towards this healing journey of sobriety. Basically it's a lot of rambling while I do this self-portrait of myself. And one thing about self-portrait that I love is that it reveals different layers of how you view yourself at that current time and at that current headspace of yours. So if you're interested to listen to my story, then feel free to just turn up the volume and listen to my story of alcoholism, how art played an integral part towards the healing process, and just maybe get to know me a bit more. If you just want to see a speedrun of how one does his or her graphite sketch, then you can just tune me out while you watch the drawing process sped up. Anyways, let's go now to the table and see and listen to this quick art to heart. All right, friends. So before we begin, I just want to talk about the art supplies that I'm using for this self-portrait of myself. I am drawing on a Strathmore toned gray paper, and I absolutely love this. And then with regards now to the graphite pencils that I'm using an amalgamy of different pencils from the Lomograph from Stedler, some Faber-Castell, some Kohinoor. I think there's also some Mars from Stedler as well. These are now the matte black graphite pencils. And I think I also punched in some Carandash Graphwood. So basically, any pencil that I decided to grab, I used it for this drawing. For the blending part, I use different sizes of blending stubs that you could just buy off your art supply stores. And then I also use a cotton swab. And then for some details and highlights, I use the Tombow Mono eraser, some kneadable erasers from Faber-Castell. Then for the white marks, I used some jelly roll pens and a pastel pencils, which later on you will see me use for the lights and some key features of my own portrait. Anyway, let's jump into my story time. So, as you've seen from the title, it's me simply talking about my journey to sobriety and how art helped me with that. I've started doing my various sketches at the cusp of the pandemic. I started drawing probably, well, officially, getting to know more on arts back before the pandemic started. I think it's during the December of 2019. And then I just decided that I want to learn how to do watercolor paintings. And then I bought some different art supplies, and I started off using my Sakura Koi and my Berkeley sketchpad, and from there I explored using watercolors, drawing, watching different videos, and learning how to draw portraits, landscapes, and among other things. I'll be inserting some photographs somewhere here in the video. Hopefully, you could see some of my works. Um, During this time was actually the height of my first attempt towards becoming sober. Let's trace back to how me and alcohol became codependent buddies. So it started off basically during my first year of work as a elementary school teacher. Um, I just had some bad experience with some privileged parents. Let's just call them that. Wherein they just mentioned pretty hurtful things towards me during a parent teacher discussion, which I have to admit probably came from somewhere else wherein I lacked when it comes to my skills as a teacher during my first year. And it really got to me. And then um, during that time, I didn't know how to cope with hearing such painful words. Those things only cut deep, and I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to talk about how I was feeling, so instead, I went to my local bar during that time and started to drown whatever I felt in alcohol. And during that time, it felt like it helped, the temporary relief from the processing of the emotions that I was supposed to feel during that time was cut short and was numbed by drinking. And it went on as a coping mechanism for my first year, second year, and third year of teaching in my first job that I had. And I don't usually talk about this to a lot of people, but I feel like this community and this platform is a, a place wherein I could share my story and probably help those who are and who were going through what I gone through. So I hope that we all leave without any judgment. So yeah, for the 3 years that I've been intoxicated and was depending heavily on drinking, I didn't know that it was affecting really my performance at work, especially I was teaching. And it came to a point wherein I usually enter my 7 to 5 job, and then after clocking out, I'd go directly to my local bar and just maybe finish 6 to 12 bottles of beer, then go home so that I can sleep immediately. And it was a waking up point wherein I was basically fired from my job because of my intoxication during one of our faculty trips. Believe it or not, I think that was the last straw from the school administration wherein I was caught drinking during our supposed time spent with our co-teachers. So I had to take a step back and evaluate my life from that point. And I had the epiphany that it was not right for me to be drinking, especially that I'm working in academic institutions. And I had to learn that the hard way. And if there are any students that I had that got to see me at my worst during my first few years of working, all I could do now is actually ask for apologies and have to assure them that I'm doing the necessary reparations now that I'm sober and doing better. So, anyways, after getting fired from my first job, I sought help and went to counseling. And with my time spent with my counselor, basically he just taught me different cognitive behavioral approaches, and I was completely aware of the different techniques that he was trying onto me, since I was also taking up my master's in guidance and counseling. And it's fun. Well, I think when I look back now, it's fun, but going back then, it was kind of like ironic that I wanted to become a guidance counselor, but I myself was not prepared to be a guidance counselor because of my addiction. So a few semesters passed in grad school. I got employed in a new job as a psychometrician and a part-time faculty teaching college, and I would still drink on occasions during that time. But then the pandemic happened, and a lot of people probably with predisposition to substance use, such as myself, was struck by the loneliness that was endowed by the quarantine. So there was I consuming maybe 2 or 3 bottles of wine every day until I sleep most of the afternoon. Then I wake up at 4 o'clock and hope to survive the day until it's drinking time at 11 a.m., which was not the best luck and not the best disposition at all. And I was doing this while I was still learning how to paint. So if we look at the timeline, I started doing art by December, and the height of the pandemic got me to do both, doing watercolor and drawing while drinking the day off. And at first it was I gave it a pass. I gave it an excuse since we're all in quarantine and there is no other thing to do but just to stay home. So it once again reawakened this addiction that I have with alcohol, wherein it helped me cope with my loneliness and a lack of purpose, because I too was removed from my work during that time because of retrenchments of the pandemic. So, with this in mind, I just continued falling into the bad habits. Not until November of 2021. 2021, I guess, or 2020. I want to go back and say it's actually 2020, where that November I just hit that wall wherein I just drank a whole bottle of tequila straight up without any chasers and just passed out on our view deck and got awakened by the rain. And I woke up sunburnt and with a bad hangover and wet from being rained on. And that was the moment I knew I had to make a change. And funnily enough, and very coincidentally, I found this YouTube channel. His name is Ryan Swift, and he used to have this channel called Color and Recover, and he also had another page called Glitter Grunge Greetings. Yeah, Ryan Swift. I hope you're still watching. If in case you're still on YouTube, he was the reason why I started to get sober, and up until now, after being instigated by his videos talking about his sobriety, I started to get clean. And it's been almost 700 days from that video that he talked about his sobriety. And moving forward, that I started to find healing. I started to go on this sobriety journey, and it started off counting days, counting it by tens, counting it by fives, until I reached 30 days of sobriety, then 120 days, 180 days, 200, and then eventually when I reached my sober anniversary, I've never been happier. And sometimes when you start off trying to be sober, it was a constant effort, especially that I hang out with my friends who still drinks, and I respect them, and they also respect my choices to stay sober, and they understand that. And I'm so grateful for my friends for actually being supportive of the sobriety journey that I had. And since that point on, it just came naturally that I don't drink while my other friends take their alcohol when we hang out, and that's been okay. And they really just respect my boundaries. So I guess really, if you have the tolerance for it, I guess it's great to still hang out with your friends, go out, and does your sobriety doesn't have to impede in your social life. I don't know, man. That's just for me, and it worked for me. But I hear a lot of stories of people who are not yet comfortable being around people drinking, which we have to respect them also. And if you happen to be one of those people who can't stay with people who get drunk, then maybe you have to choose your friends. But for those who can, then I think we're on a better side of the spectrum when it comes to those people staying sober. So anyway, back to the relationship that I had with both art and sobriety. There was a point wherein I thought that I could not draw without getting drunk, and that's just silly now looking back at it with a clearer head. But I remember during that time, it was almost impossible for me to pick up a pencil or pick up a paintbrush without wanting to take a sip of alcohol first. And I've mentioned this to my good friend Risha. She really had to assist me with that, and really just told me na, do not Hemingway yourself, do not do this to yourself. If you really want to do art, try to de-pair the two stimuli. And again, having a background on psychology, it makes total sense. And I had to phase out the alcohol while trying to still do what I love. And now, here I am, 700 plus days sober, and I haven't felt any better. It wasn't always linear. There were days wherein I felt anxious, and the only way that I could think I could manage the feeling of anxiety is by just taking a swig of bourbon or brandy or whatever liquor have you. But we learn to manage it, and we learn to just ride the wave of anxiety and cravings and come up on top feeling that we've accomplished something better, being able to do what we love to do without needing to rely on crutches wherein we hope that it'll make us feel better. Now, art has been a gateway for finding my inner peace. Art has been a facet wherein I could channel all those negative emotions, all those anxieties, and all those memories that I wish to escape from into something that's productive, something beautiful, something people could probably appreciate. And that's where I am now, seeing the world in a view lens of an artist, if you would. And sometimes I still feel a bit iffy calling myself an artist. And I think that's okay, it's not always um, a gr- I don't know if there are any of you who do art but don't feel comfortable calling themselves artists. I'm one of you, and I think how we feel is completely valid. But what matters most is not getting caught in labels, but rather just getting caught up doing our hobby and doing what we love. And right now, I guess one addiction replaces the other with another addiction, and calling it spade, but right now I'm into pretty much collecting art supplies, and I'm thinking of what I'm doing now more as an investment rather than an addiction, because I know that probably one day I could use these art supplies, and knowing that I'm buying good products assures me, I guess, that these art supplies can last me for a while instead of just the temporary highs of drinking alcohol. Right now, though, um, tell me about your stories on the comment section. I really want to hear from you and how you got to your point of sobriety, or for those who are looking for a sign. I guess this video could be your sign to probably take that first step towards getting that sobriety badge. And it's not always, the art is not always the solution, guys. If you really are struggling, feel free to consult a behavioral specialist, a psychologist, or a therapist, or a counselor, or a friend who understands what you're going through. And I don't hold all the answers. I do not know your personal struggles with whatever your substance of coping is, but what I can assure you is that if you want to start, then there are means to help you get to your goals. I hope I'm making sense, or I'm just rambling, but I just end point and be all point, I guess, of this video is to just tell you guys that there are ways wherein you can cope with your addictions, and it gets better eventually once you put in the effort of wanting to get better. And of course, find a community that helps you become a better person. My God, I don't know where I'd be without my amazing friends and my wonderful therapist and all of you guys in this community. I rarely talk to you guys. I just post my videos and that's it. And I'm sorry if there are any people who felt left out, but trust me, I see you and I appreciate all of you, whether it would be a 2,000 view video or just a 50 view video or 20 view video. You know what? I'm just entirely grateful for your existence, and I'm so blessed to have this platform right now that I'm in. So yeah, there's that. That's my story with my sobriety and my journey towards being who I am today. And this, my friends, is how I see myself in my own view lens, a self portrait that I've done in graphite. So let me bring you now and wrap up this video. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. I hope you enjoyed and learned a thing or two from this video, and I hope that there's no bad, reputation that was unleashed because of my stories. And whatever happened here, what matters most is where I am now, and I couldn't be any more happier, and a lot of great things are happening, and I'm so happy to be an instrument to, hopefully, an instrument to other people's healing with my current job as a guidance counselor. Anyway, guys, I hope you're having a great day, week, month, year, and as always, I wish you all the love and peace. Take care, everybody.